Hey, fourth graders, Mr. Mullenkamp here. Hey, it is my first YouTube video, so I thought it would be a good idea to kind of do a little review with where we left off when it comes to math, and that was in decimals. If you remember, we started chapter 10, which started talking about decimals and how decimals were kind of like fractions in that they are part of a whole, meaning they are less than one whole. Okay, so what I have right here is I wrote out a couple examples for you. So first at the top, I just wrote out the place values when it comes to working with decimals. Now on the left side over here of the decimal, we've got our ones place. We know that ones are wholes. Now, since we're talking about decimals, all right, we're talking about everything to the right of the decimals. Anything to the right of a decimal we know is part of a whole, smaller than one, just like fractions, okay? And we're going to relate decimals and fractions back and forth because they're very compatible. Okay, so we've got our ones place. Now, once we go to the right of the decimal, we know that these are smaller than one. We've got our tenths and we've got our hundredths. Our first example right here, 0.7. Now, in math, we don't want you to always say 0.7, okay? We want you to refer to the place value, okay? Now, look at our 7. Our 7 is in the tenths place. So, how would we actually say this in math terms? We would call it, just like the fraction, 7/10. Now, if you remember back in class, what we used to kind of relate fractions and decimals back and forth, we used money because lots of students know about money, okay? When we talk about the tenths place, we compared the tenths to talking about dimes, okay? So everybody knows that a dime is worth 10 cents. So therefore, what would 7 dimes have a value of? It would be right here in blue, if you can see, it is 70 cents. So we've got 7/10, 7/10, but then I also wrote over here that it is equivalent to 70/100ths, okay? So just understand that because this is 0.7, it is the same thing as 0.70, all right? It has a value of 70 cents, all right? Now, the next example problem, all right, not really a problem, just an example of a decimal, all right, we have 0.43. Now, I underlined the two place values of tenths and hundredths, okay? Now, tenths, if you remember, we can think of those as dimes, all right? They're worth 10 cents, all right? So 4 dimes we know would be worth 40 cents. Now, over here, the hundredths place, those have a value of 1 penny, okay? So the hundredths place, this would be 3/100ths. You put these together, you get 43/100ths, okay? Now, like we all like doing, comparing it to money, it would have a value of 43 cents. Again, we didn't have a whole dollar, which would be one whole, so we have nothing in our ones place, all right? So on Monday, guys, when we get started with our daily lessons, all right, we're going to be starting on lesson 4 in chapter 10. We're going to be talking about decimals. We'll do a little bit of review. It's a really good, easy start to our decimals. It kind of breaks us in pretty easy. I believe it is on page 651 is where we'll be starting. So stay tuned for the next video, and I'm excited to see you guys then. See you Monday. Bye.